is life, and air is made up of gases. 21% is oxygen, which we breathe in, and nitrogen is 78%. That is already 99%. So every other gases such as hydrogen, carbon dioxide, which we breathe out and plants breathe in, accounts for 1%. Greenhouse gases accounts for under 1% also. Greenhouse gases are very important because they help keep planet Earth warm. Without greenhouse gases, planet Earth would be inhabitable, as it would be minus 18 degrees. Well, remember that 0 degrees is freezing point, so minus 18 degrees is another world. So this brings me to my topic for today. Stay tuned. Good morning. I am Obaro, the convener of the Fix Nigeria campaign. And today I would like to talk to you about climate change and global warming and its impacts. So, climate change, you've heard about it all over and over, and I took my time to study about it during the lockdown in 2020, and I was amazed, and I'm going to share from the knowledge I got when I learned about it. So, in fixing Nigeria, where is Nigeria? Nigeria is in Africa. Where is Africa? Africa is in planet Earth. And planet Earth is suffering today. So we fix Nigeria, and tomorrow planet Earth is no longer habitable. How are we going to survive? So this brings me to why I said I want to talk about climate change, because that is what is actually affecting planet Earth. So I'm going to start by defining climate change, and I'm also going to define global warming. So climate change is a change in the average weather pattern over a period of time, which can be human-induced or caused naturally. Now, the science behind this is the global warming aspect. So global warming is the increase in average weather temperature, which is caused by an increase in the concentration of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. So these greenhouse gases are carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, and water vapor. But the most lethal of all of them, which is I wouldn't really say it is the most lethal. It is the one that is really affecting the Earth currently. That is carbon dioxide. And carbon dioxide is really what is the problem here. Carbon dioxide is produced a lot by humans. Our cars, our industrial revolution, the plants we run, generators, they are producing excess carbon dioxide, which is actually affecting planet Earth today. Methane is 25 times more potent than carbon dioxide. Nitrous oxide is 300 times more potent than carbon dioxide. So you can imagine if those gases that are more potent are not causing what everybody is shouting about, that tells you that we are really producing too much of carbon dioxide. And that is why today there's so much talk about it, so much buzz about it. So how does carbon dioxide affect the planet? I'll take you through that. So firstly, 90% of all the warming that these gases are producing goes into the sea. And whenever this warming goes into the sea, it causes the water to expand and sea level rise. When sea level rise, more water vapor is evaporated into the atmosphere. Hurricane gets its power for wind from water vapor. So when you have more water vapor in the atmosphere, the wind power is going to be much. It's going to make the hurricane more lethal. That's why you see these days they have so much hurricane in the world. When sea levels rise, it causes flooding. Global warming causes a lot of ice to melt from the glaciers. They are melting more than the way they are adding snow. So when it melts, those water also moves to the ocean. And the ocean will also rise. So it's going to cause flooding. It's going to cause tsunamis. Those are the causes of all these things. So we are suffering a lot of natural disaster. All over the world, India, different places all over the world, they are having floods. It's because of the ocean level which has risen. And when the ocean level actually rises and there's flooding, ocean water is salty water. If you have ever gone to the beach and you've gotten to the water and played with around it or tried to swim, you'll find out that the water is salty. Salty water causes agricultural pollution. So when it comes to the land, it destroys agriculture because it is salty water. Another way it also affects the ocean is that it causes ocean acidification. There's what is called the coral reef. Coral reef is actually what supports about 25% of the life in the sea. It supports the life of the fish. Coral reef is seriously being impacted by too much of carbon dioxide getting into the water. When carbon dioxide gets into the water, it makes the water acidic. And that also ocean acidification, it kills the algae that are inside that coral reef. So when the algae in the coral reef begins to die off, the coral reef too will begin to die, because that algae is what feeds the coral reef. So once the algae leaves the coral reef because of the ocean acidification, the coral reef begins to bleach. It bleaches because a lot of opportunity pathogens start to prey on it. And once that coral reef dies, the fishes are going to leave their habitat. So currently, most of the fishes are moving to the North Pole. The North Poles are places that are not habited because those are the cold areas. Cold areas in the hemisphere. So there's a lot of negative impacts that are being caused by warming. Whatever we are doing, we are pushing out too much carbon dioxide into the world. So these are the negative vices. This is what is really causing the problem, and everybody needs to be aware of it. In Nigeria, we have no consciousness of that. Almost everybody have a generator. There's no building you will go to and there's no generator, all because there is no power. That's why today you see nations of the world, everybody is moving to renewable energy. Elon Musk is the richest man in the world because he's so vested in renewable energy, trying to get you cars that will not create all those emissions that come out and destroy the world. Another impact of global warming, other than what I've mentioned, is wildfires. It causes wildfires. When plants get heated up to 150 degrees, their cell structure breaks and they release gases. When those gases come in contact with oxygen, the same heat which have heated it up can ignite a fire. And once that fire starts, it's going to start spreading. And before you know it, thousands of acres of land are gone. Wildfires are so dangerous. What makes it so bad is that once they are burning, more carbon dioxide is released into the atmosphere. There's serious air pollution, which has caused so much deaths by suffocation. A lot of people have respiratory cancer, respiratory sicknesses, respiratory related stuffs like asthma. So it's really, really crazy. So wildfires are dangerous, and global warming is also one of the causes, one of the major contributors to it. Now I want to talk about the ozone. Ozone is what I kept hearing when I was growing up. They say ozone layer is getting spoiled, But studies showed me that the ozone layer actually had a hole in it. And ozone is actually in the stratosphere of planet Earth. It's not in the troposphere where we reside. Ozone is in the stratosphere. Ozone is made of 3 oxygen atoms. So what those ozone actually does is that the sun's UV rays, which if it comes into the troposphere, would give a lot of people skin cancer, which is bad for us. The ozone actually blocks it, so it deflects the sun's UV rays. Now, what happened was that these gases that we're releasing here were going, when they go up, they go into the stratosphere, and they were like causing holes in the ozone. The major gas which caused that was a gas called CFC, chlorofluorocarbon. That gas is the gas that they used to use in refrigerators and in air conditioners and in some solvents. So when those gases are released and they go into the stratosphere, the chemistry takes place. They break those atoms, those 3 oxygen atoms, and the ozone gives space. So there was a hole in the ozone. But when scientists found out that was the cause, they now talked about it. They had a convention And what happened is that they resolved to stop that. So when they stopped that, they now started using HFC, which is hydrofluorocarbon. So after they started using HFC, statistics shows that the ozone is being healed currently. It's being healed. The hole is closing up. Now we have ground level ozone, which is dangerous and which is causing a lot of harm to people today. But a lot of people don't know about that because this is chemistry. I said earlier that ozone is 3 oxygen atoms. Now, the emissions from cars, when fossil fuel combusts, they produce various gases. When those gases mix with the sun rays, that is actually in the Earth's troposphere, those rays, the chemical composition, it forms those 3 oxygen molecules. So a lot of people today are breathing in those ozone air. That is very, very dangerous. A lot of people are breathing in. So today you see so much rampancy. People have cancer. People have various kind of diseases. These are the things that global warming is causing. The climate has changed. It has caused the climate to change. So we need to be aware of these things. These are very technical things. There's so much awareness in the world, but over in Africa, we don't have those awareness. We don't have those consciousness. Africa is not even thinking about renewable currently, but the whole world is thinking about renewable. They are thinking of how from 2030 they don't want to be using what is damaging the earth because they are thinking of sustainability. There are still people on Earth. They are still running tests on Mars. It is not proven that we can go to Mars yet. So we need to take these things seriously. Climate change needs to be taken seriously. We need to stop polluting the seas. People dump plastic, dump waste there. A lot of people survive by fishing. That's what they do as a source of income. We can't continue the way we have been going. We have to change a lot of things. There are a lot of other effects. Now let's move to other effects, the way it affects we humans. There's vector-borne disease and there is waterborne disease. Waterborne disease like cholera, typhoid fever, dysentery. These diseases kill millions of people yearly. When there's a flood, and especially people who live in the tropics, who depend on stream water, and their sewage water gets in contact with their main water source. This causes a lot of diseases for them. Just coming in contact with their body alone, there's a lot of pathogens that spread. It's crazy. Those same pool of water, mosquitoes lay their eggs in water. When you have water that is stagnant, mosquitoes will lay their eggs. And because of the global warming, that the temperature is hot, it's going to make the life cycle of the mosquito and its parasite faster. They are going to breed. There's going to be so much mosquitoes. This brings us to the vector-borne disease, which are malaria, Lyme disease, yellow fever, dengue fever. These are dangerous diseases. Everybody knows that malaria is lethal. Malaria is known to have killed millions of people in the world, hundreds of millions. But thank God today we have defeated it. But it still exists. So we should not give it more ground for it to prey on more people. That's killed so much children in the world. So now I would like to move into nutrition. Let me show you how the same global warming affects nutrition. Tests have shown that exposure to excess carbon dioxide affects the nutrients in the food. It reduces the heat. They've done so much tests. Grown crops, expose them to different carbon dioxide levels, and it has shown that it reduces the protein, it reduces vitamins such as vitamin A, it reduces the folates, it reduces iron. And today, iron deficiency is the most pronounced in children all over the world. Iron deficiency anemia is also deadly. It reduces the IQ of children. It causes brain impairedness. So we need to also look at our nutrition, see the way global warming is affecting it. Children are malnourished. So we need to take a look at this. Fish helps a lot. Fish has so many nutrients, but today all the fishes are running away. They are moving to the cooler regions. So much needs to be done. So much awareness needs to be created. Now let's move to heat. I've talked so much on how heat affects the climate. Let's talk about how heat affects the human. Everybody can testify to how hot it is these days. When it is hot, it is really, really hot. It's almost unbearable. A lot of people are having sunburns. Now, heat stroke and heat exhaustions are really, really terrible. They are dangerous. They can cause brain damage. They can destroy your nerves, and they can also cause dehydration. Now, the people at risk of this are people who are obese and people who are the elderly. They are the ones who are really at risk. It's very dangerous for them because it is difficult for them to shed heat from their body. Now, how does the human being shed heat? We shed heat by conduction. I'm feeling hot. I hold an ice block, maybe a pure water that has frozen. I hold it. It's going to cool my body. The second way is by convection. Convection is whereby I sit in a room and I turn on an air conditioner. The room is cooler than my body temperature. The room temperature is cooler than my body temperature. That's convection. Then there's evaporation, which is the body releasing heat via sweat, which evaporates. That's the third way the body expels heat. Now, these people who are obese and who are the elderly, these are challenges for them, and it is very dangerous. Especially living in a country like Nigeria where there is no power. You cannot turn on your fan for you to experience convection. So then your body now starts depending on evaporation, which is difficult for these people. So it is deadly. That is why energy is necessary. Clean, renewable energy. Our government needs to do that because these things are affecting a lot of citizens. You hear of death everywhere. People are dying. You don't know that these are causes of global warming. The decisions we make today will impact our tomorrow. I will end by saying this. The decisions we make today will impact our tomorrow. Now that we know these things, we need to take decisions to save ourselves, to save our families, so that we can continue to exist. Thank you for listening. I am Obaro Ebegbari, the convener of the Fix Nigeria campaign. Until next time when I bring you another episode, God bless.